Hello, PitchGrounders. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're watching this live session or replays. This is your host, Swapnil, Community Manager from PitchGround. And today I'm very much excited to share the updates of AudioHarvest. And to share these updates, the founders of AudioHarvest is going to join us in this live event. Before we dive into it, let's hear it from the Val what this story does for us.
Today, we're going to turn your blog into a podcast. What's going on, guys? This is Val from PitchGround. If you got something to tell, you write a blog. But did you know that over 1 billion people in the world listen to podcasts, including those 42% of decision makers on LinkedIn? The latest figures show that in the United States, 41% of people listened to a podcast in the last month, and 28% are weekly podcast listeners. It's no surprise that those numbers are climbing daily because the number of mobile devices has skyrocketed in the last decade. We are too busy to read a long article, but we have our ears free when we are traveling to the office, going for a walk, or even making dinner. Alright, so you have your blog written. Now it's time to turn it into a podcast. So how do you do it? First, you get yourself some equipment. High-quality mic, headphones, maybe audio interface. Then you spend some extra cash to improve the acoustic properties of your room, kick everyone out of your house, and finally record your podcast. Then you obviously hate how your own voice sounds in record. Do another take, then maybe a few more, and finally realize it's not your mission. You can avoid all that and hire a professional voiceover actor if you are rich enough, because it will cost you around $500 for 5 minutes of audio. Then you finally decide to summon a little help from the modern technologies and use one of those text-to-speech tools. You do all that copy and pasting job, convert your hundreds of articles into hours and hours of audio, then create accounts on all those platforms like Spotify, iTunes, Google, Amazon, etc. And then finally upload your podcast there. You really want to do all that? AudioHarvest will turn your blog into a branded podcast with a minimum effort from your site. AudioHarvest scans a client's website content to recommend the most suitable content to convert to audio. The client selected content is then converted into a company podcast and distributed to iTunes, Spotify, Google, etc. automatically, so you don't have to bother with all those platforms and accounts. AudioHarvest will do it for you automatically. You also have the ability to install an audio player on your website so your visitors can listen to your content. So if you didn't use a podcast as a channel of communication with your audience, definitely start using it. With AudioHarvest, it will be nice and smooth. It won't cost you lots of cash, but it's worth it. Go check out that lifetime deal on pitchground.com and don't miss our use case video where we take a close look at AudioHarvest. That's pretty much it, guys. Love you all. Keep safe. And I see you guys in the next video.
Hey, thank you all for showing us what AudioHarvest does, and this was amazing video. And let me welcome the founders of AudioHarvest. And here we go. Hey, Dominic, thank you for joining us. And here we go. And we have another guest, that is Dieter. Hello, thank you for joining us and taking time to share the updates with the community. And let me dive into the live update sharing. I would like to know about what is AudioHarvest and what made you think to make the AudioHarvest tool.
So as the video explains, we help customers reach their audiences via audio. And we came up with the platform because we noticed that two things. One, people are very aware of is there's a huge amount of people listening to podcasts. But two, what was really interesting to us is that a lot of businesses weren't present in this world where over 1 billion people listen to audio now. So we just started looking into that and going and trying to work out why that was. And what we found out is, as is partly pointed out in the video, the expense of creating a podcast is significant, and also the time and the complexity of it meant that many startup businesses and many marketing and content people just could not get a return for their money to enter this market. They knew their customers were there and they knew there was opportunities to monetize and sell to these people, but the time and the effort to create that content was just impractical. So essentially what we came up with was a technology solution to do all the heavy lifting. So our platform would get rid of all the cost that was involved in that and all of the time and effort required. We essentially use technology to find content that our customers have already created to be consumed, transform that into audio and distribute that as audio experiences. And the types of audio experiences we create are on-site. So we provide an on-site player so that their customers can now listen to content, and if they have site difficulties, it can help them experience the site. We also distribute that content. So podcast is probably our core distribution channel. So we push that out onto the major hosts such as Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, and Google. So that delivers a significant audience. Thirdly, we also ensure that that is discovered in Google search. So it helps our customers with their rankings because podcast listings for each episode tend to get ranked. And finally, we enable that audio content to be distributed socially. So you can create links out of all of the audio content we use, and you can distribute that on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, so that you've got a fully extended audio campaign. And so essentially we're the automated audio marketing partner for all of these businesses.
Awesome. Thank you for giving an introduction about the tool, and I would like to know about the company and your entrepreneur journey so far.
Yeah, so essentially we've been going a year and a half. My background has been in startups. So previously I created a data analytics business that I sold to a US company, and classic journey really. Dieter and myself met. I'm commercial corporate product design person by background. I came up with this concept because I've been working for some of the major audio businesses. I worked with Acast, which is a significant audio network. I worked with Pandora, which after Spotify is the biggest audio platform. Essentially, when I was working with these companies is when I came with this insight that actually there's amazing audio for consumers, but actually for businesses to engage in audio, there aren't many services out there to enable them to access and to speak to their customers. So I started to build that concept. I then got chatting with Dieter because we needed to build it, and Dieter came on board as the Chief Technology Officer. And essentially from there, what we did is the classic journey of building an MVP. So within a matter of months, we built an MVP, and we took that to some people that we knew, some clients that I'd worked with in the past, and said, look, can you just play around with this and tell us what you think? Really, really positive reaction. Actually, almost straight away, they just said, yeah, this is good. So we spent very little time as an MVP and went straight into actually selling the product in market. So within less than a year, we were actively selling the product in market. And then very early on, we started to have clients. So essentially, one of our headline clients to begin with was Hewlett Packard, and then we started to have more and more technology clients. And what they were using this for was as a great way to communicate with business decision makers. For them, they recognize that a significant amount of their audience is now listening to business podcasts and making decisions off the back of that. So LinkedIn states that 42% of their audience listen to podcasts regularly. And so these customers very quickly realized that this is a great way for us to communicate with that audience and start to influence them. So, and then from there, we started to roll out into non-profit organizations. So it was a great way to help them promote charities. We then started to work with a lot of startups, and for them, it was a great way to communicate with their customers and monetize the services that they have. But we work all the way across legal profession, finance profession as well. And so essentially, the journey we took ourselves on was building an end-to-end platform. So essentially, all a customer has to do is provide a URL. And what Dieter's built is, from that URL is a recommendation engine. So we go and find the content and recommend the appropriate content. We then automatically transform that into audio and distribute that. And then we're continuing to innovate with the product. So some of the things we're going to go into today about how we've created some plugins, additional voices. And now one of the latest things we're going to do is enable people to upload audio recordings. So not only will we be doing text to speech, but you can actually record podcasts and distribute through our platform.
Awesome. And over to you, the community wants to know about you.
Well, I've always been a techie guy from when I was very young. I was already programming in high school, in
Wow.
basic, uh, basically a big nerd in high school. So it was logical for me to go start study computer science. And then I did various jobs. I was in a small startup also after university.
Awesome.
Um, I did various jobs in technology companies and doing basically backend development. And I came to Sweden. So both me and Dominic are living in Stockholm in Sweden. I came to
Oh,
Sweden to work for
same.
Spotify.
Oh, good.
So I came to Spotify. I worked for Spotify for about 4 years. So then I met Dominic, and he had this idea in the audio space, which was very mysterious at first, but it was a total natural fit because I was working on podcasts, very familiar with the technology, and I'm able to quickly prototype something. So yeah, we started working and we got something up and running really quick.
Okay, so you both were working in the same company there you met, or
No, we
No,
actually
we were
met that. Yeah,
yeah,
Dominic.
yeah.
we were working in the same sector. So I was working. After I sold the previous business, I was doing consultancy, and all the consultancy I was doing was in the audio space. So I was actually working with Acast for a bit and for a company called DAX.
Oh,
And so we met through industry events essentially. So at kind of founders events, we were both interested in exploring how to kind of start up another business. It was a bit more me to begin with, proactively looking for someone to build the platform essentially. So I kind of was kind of saying this is what I need, and then Dieter kindly stepped up and said, as he's mentioned, I've got a pretty good background in this area, and so we just kind of developed a relationship from there. So we started working quite casually to begin with. So we basically worked weekends and just said, let's see if this has legs and it can work. We didn't even commit to anything. Let's just see if we can build this, and if people will use it. That was basically the brief. And so we spent a summer designing, building, refining this, and then we built something where we thought, well, it doesn't break and it isn't ugly. Let's go and see what other people think of it. I think that's anything to
yeah.
add to that, Dieter? Or?
Yeah, I mean, when we met, I didn't really have like the big objective in life, create a startup. But I mean, I was definitely open
Right.
to a new challenge, and it was a natural fit. So here we are.
Yeah, two masters met and the AudioHarvest is live. Awesome, awesome. So let's start with the update sharing. So whatever updates that you have date of launch, so community wants to know about those, and if you are going to share the future roadmap of the tool, that's gonna be a great thing to hear it from you guys.
Yeah, so Dieter's going to take through three up and coming releases that we have. The first one is that we've built a WordPress plugin. So basically, it's a click and play that enables you to load the player, the on-site audio player, straight onto your website, and it will automatically then play wherever you have content. Dieter's going to go through that, and that's a live release that we're going to do here. The second thing we're going to go through is that we've added a bunch more voices. So basically, when we launched with PitchGround, one of the piece of feedback we got was actually we'd like more voices. We like the voices, but we want more. So we're going to go through the voices that we're going to be adding to the system in the up and coming weeks. And then finally, we're going to go through a prototype of the thing that I mentioned previously, which is you can now upload podcast recordings to our platform and distribute them automatically on that. So I'll hand over to Dieter, who can kind of go through those things with you and kind of share his screen and do some demos.
Awesome,
Yeah,
awesome.
I'll just share my window here. Yeah, so let's start off with the WordPress plugin. So as you know, our platform not only takes your articles and turns them into audio and publishes them as a podcast. You can also add a player to your own website. So when people visit your webpage, they can just click play and listen to your article while they're, don't have their eyes on the screen. But one threshold of doing that was that people need to have a little bit of web development knowledge. They need to take a snippet of code and basically take it and put it into their website code. So that's a little bit, if you don't have that knowledge, it's a little bit of an obstacle. So what we try to do now is make this as easy as possible. And that's why we just published today the WordPress plugin, the AudioHarvest WordPress plugin on our
Awesome.
website. So how does this work?
Is live? People
You just
can use
download. Yes, we just published this. So
Awesome.
we will also add it to the WordPress plugin directory. So if you go actually in WordPress in your dashboard and you search the plugins that are published through WordPress, you will find that plugin. But we are still doing the submission process there, so that might take 1 or 2 weeks until that's live. But before that, you can actually find the plugin on our website and just download it. So you basically just download a zip file, you unzip it, and you get this directory with some files in. And in order to install the plugin, you copy this, the AudioHarvest plugin, into your WordPress plugin directory. And then once you've done this, how to do this might depend on how you are hosting your WordPress site. I think some hosting providers have a tool to do that. For others, you might have to copy it using a command line tool. So that depends a bit on your situation. But once you have done that step, you should see in your list of plugins, you should see here the AudioHarvest plugin. And if you just copied in the files, you will actually, the plugin will not be active. So now you can see here in the list that the plugin is installed but not active. So all you have to do is activate the plugin, click this link, and then the plugin will be activated. So now if we go back to our blog article here and we refresh, we can see that the plugin is now loading. So simply by installing the AudioHarvest WordPress plugin, we get the player on our articles. You can also find in the tools section, once you install the plugin, there will be an entry here, AudioHarvest settings, where you can customize the style of your plugin. So what I've did here now is add some custom CSS rules to basically make the player match the style of our website. But you have control over the different colors that are used in the player. You can set the transparency for the player itself, so it kind of blends into your web page a bit. And if you're a power user and you know something about styling web pages with CSS, you can just write your own rules and basically apply any style to the player. So we hope that this will make it a lot easier for people to add the AudioHarvest player to their website.
Awesome.
So I'm gonna wrap up the topic of the WordPress plugin there. I invite everybody to go to our webpage and download the plugin. I think we still need to actually publish the link on our homepage, but we will do that right after this meeting.
Yeah. I'm just browsing your site and I was checking the link. Where is that WordPress plugin link?
But now you need to just go to /WordPress-plugin and you'll find it. But we'll publish that link right after this meeting.
Awesome. Please do share in the community so that people can download it and test it out on their WordPress site.
Yeah. So another comment that we've heard is that people want to have more choices when it comes to picking voices. So now we basically support the poly voices, which in our opinion are the highest quality voices that are available for the moment. But the selection, especially for non-English, the voices, you only have a few choices of different voices. So what we have been experimenting with is also adding the Google text-to-speech engine into our product. So the nice thing about that is that Google has an immense selection of voices. So I'm just gonna browse through this list here. This is the list of all the voices that are available. There are many languages. There are many different types of voices. I think this adds up to about just under 100 voices. Now, to be honest, we've experimented. We have already did this. At some point, we actually offered these voices, but there's some the integration with the Google is a bit weird at times. So we had some issues there, and we actually disabled that again. But we will fix that, and we will add these voices in the near future. I'm not going to make any hard promises on in the coming 2 or 3 weeks, but I think somewhere in the next 2 or 3 months, you should probably definitely see this appear.
Awesome.
So yeah, if you want to try these voices, you can actually go to his webpage. I think we can also share that, or if anybody wants me to try some voices, let me know. Let me just check one of them, for example.
Yeah,
With cloud machine learning, your application interprets images.
With cloud machine learning, your application
I mean, there's just many voices. They will all be available. You will all be able to try them through our tool. So looking forward to publishing that. Then the last thing I want to touch on is also a beta feature. So this is not live yet, but we are working on that, and I think that in a term of coming weeks we will probably release that. Is one thing that people have been asking us. So people want to use the text-to-speech engine, the text-to-speech technology that we offer to create articles, but sometimes they also just want to take a recording that they already have and just add that to their podcast. So this is something that we've been working on. So we basically now we will offer the functionality where you can create an article through our dashboard. So you just give it a title, you give it a description. You can create a custom section to place this in. For example, I will create a new section, audio, and then you can just select. Okay, you don't see my file browser in the share, I see, but what I'm doing now is I'm basically just selecting an audio file, adding it. So I now selected an audio file. We can preview it here, and then when I press save, it will upload the file and it will create a new article. And instead of taking text and creating an audio file out of the text, we can just upload the audio file.
Awesome.
I also created a podcast that takes only these articles. So now if you look at this podcast, the preview of this podcast, the article that we just created with the recording that we uploaded has been added to the podcast. And it will be distributed to Spotify, to Apple and Google, just like all your other articles that you created with the text-to-speech engine. So now we offer this extra flexibility of you can basically choose, do you want to take your existing articles and convert them into audio, or if you want to do an interview with somebody and you want to add that also to your podcast, you will have this flexibility, and you can just upload audio files. And I hope I covered everything with that. Dominic, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, not to that, but I just spotted a question with regards to the WordPress plugin, but it'd be good to answer. So,
yeah, let me publish. Let me show that. Yeah. Okay, so we have a question from Zhao. Yeah, please go ahead, Data.
Yes. So if you go to our UI, for example, this is now our AudioHarvest account. If you go to the article review page, you have all your articles here. And you will also have by the way, you will have a different page where you will manage your audio recordings. But if you go to your article review page, only the articles that you have published through your AudioHarvest account will be visible on your website. So before the audio player can pop up on an article, you need to have published the article in your AudioHarvest account. So that way you can control which pages you publish or which pages you make the AudioHarvest player available for. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah. Okay. So one thing that you showed us about the uploading recordings. So is that the MP3? What extension does it support? MP3 Wave, or which type of extension that is?
I think so. We're still working on the feature. So now it works for MP3, and okay. I think the podcasts typically support either MP3, so MPEG audio, or audio encoded with advanced audio codec. So I think that's MP4 or M4A, but I still kind of need to figure out exactly what file extensions we're going to support there. We just want to make sure that the files that you upload will be compatible with Spotify, with Apple, and that you won't have any problems if you upload an audio file with some weird encoding or some weird extension. We want to make sure that it works after you've uploaded. So that's still a work in progress.
Okay, just enlighten me on this update as well. So people or users will be able to upload the recorded MP3. For example, I have recorded my entire session. Okay, will it be uploaded on the AudioHarvest and then it can be published, or just the MP3, the background sound or the background music can be uploaded through this option?
So no, it will be a full article that you upload. What you mentioned, like uploading some background audio or something, is also like a really interesting feature that we're definitely aware of, and that's on our roadmap for the future. But that's technically a little bit more complex, and we don't for the moment support that yet. But
this upload is for podcast episodes. So, for example, Swapnil, you want to record a podcast episode for PitchGround on a particular subject. And you record that, and then you go, I need to distribute that. I need to get that out to my audience. You upload it here, and our platform will then brand it and distribute it for you.
Awesome. So the external recorded files can be uploaded on the AudioHarvest, and then we can publish it to across distribution channels, right?
Yep,
correct.
Awesome. Okay, so any other questions that we have? I think so, no. Guys, if you have any questions regarding AudioHarvest, please, so that we can answer it right now. And if you're watching this in a replay session, so please tag Dominator or me, and you can ask your questions in the comments. So let me reiterate the updates that AudioHarvest has rolled out. The first and the major, and I'm excited to share this update, is Wordpress plugin is going to live. Okay, you can download it from the AudioHarvest. We are going to share that link in the comment section so that you can click on it and you can download the zip file, upload it on your WordPress dashboard plugin section, and you can plug in your AudioHarvest account there, and you can embed those your podcasters on your website. Then the second and the major one update is they have released the multiple and new voices. Okay, so there were few voices earlier, now we have a lot of voices which are coming on AudioHarvest, so you can plug in any voices, and you can go ahead with that and distribute your podcast across all the channels. Then the third and the major update that just Dieter and Dominic has explained us, that is you can upload the external MP3, means you can record it and you can upload it on the AudioHarvest, and that can be published across all the channels. So these are the three major updates that AudioHarvest team has released. And if you have any questions regarding the deal, if you have any queries regarding the tool, please feel free and tag us in the comment and ask your questions, so we can solve your queries regarding the tool and the deal. And if you haven't checked out the lifetime deal, which is currently live on the PitchGround.com, I'm sharing the link in the comment box so that you can click on it and go and check it out, the deal as well. Yeah, over to you, Dominic.
Yeah, thanks a lot for everyone's time. It'd be great in the up and coming events that we do, we'll start to talk about some other things that we have planned for the more long-term future. So we'll be looking at how we manage the voices. So one of the areas we're looking at is to create pauses, to edit the pitch, and to add musical introductions to the podcasts within that. We'll also be looking at a record function, so not just uploading audio files, but exploring how you can record your own podcast within the platform. And finally, looking at translate functions. So the particularly interesting area is you're a business based in India, but actually you'd like to enter the Middle Eastern market, so you'd like to have all of your content translated into Arabic. We're looking into how we can do that for podcasting, so that you can then sell your product via audio across the globe in whichever language you choose. So there's some of the future kind of areas that we're looking at to move the product along with.
Okay, means I can record it in English and I can translate it into multiple languages. Is that so?
Yeah, that's what we're exploring. So it's a very complex area. So it's this year is the roadmap for exploring that. So one is making it technically possible, and then two is making it accurate enough that it works well as an experience. Right. So there's quite a lot of development work and controlled testing to ensure that works effectively. So that's a year-long analysis and development, but that obviously is a game changer.
Yeah, that would be a really game changer, because everyone can, promote their podcast into different corners of the country, or not country, globe, across the globe, right? I can record.
Yeah, this is global. So this is, you're American business, and you want to get into China. We get you there straight away.
Right. If you're publishing any product and you want to promote into a different markets, different countries, so that is way possible through AudioHarvest. I'm very much excited for that. Really, that would be a really, really game changer. Yeah, definitely. Awesome. Anything else you want to share with the community, Dominic?
Yeah, I mean, essentially for us is that, as you talked about at the beginning, that the journey for us is, our first ambition was just to make it easy for people to enter the podcast market. Our long-term ambition is to enable businesses to do any kind of audio marketing. So if they want to record, distribute, if they want to use AI, if they want to put audio marketing on social or on search, we will enable them to do that in real time and in an automated way. So but we are essentially their audio marketing department. And so we're just adding more and more features to enable them to create any kind of audio and distribute that audio wherever people consume it. So we already distribute that on mobile, smart speakers and laptops. But then we're building out, we're doing more and more, enabling them to distribute it on social channels such as Twitter and Facebook and search. So we're just building out this broader offering.
Oh, wow. That's gonna be bomb. Awesome. Yeah, so guys, if you have any questions regarding the AudioHarvest lifetime deal, and if you have any questions regarding the tool, how this tool, how you can utilize this tool in your day-to-day operations, and how you can distribute your podcast and recordings through this AudioHarvest tool, we are open to, and also we are open to take your feedbacks and the suggestions. If you have any, please tag us in the comment. Dominic and Dieter is there in the community. You can tag both of them and me as well, and we can go ahead and think on that update or the suggestion that you have, and the team is open to take that and implement if it is feasible enough to implement into the current infrastructure. And way to go.
Cheers. Thanks a lot for organizing that as well, Swapnil.
Yeah, thank you Dominic and Dieter for joining us and sharing your values and the updates and the future roadmap of the AudioHarvest with the community. And keep sharing those updates with the community and keep joining us. And we have a feedback received just now before we wrapped up. Let me show that. Yeah, so okay, so we have a question. Love the product, guys. You mentioned the music intros. Any ETA on that? I appreciate these things are somewhat fluid. So over to you.
Yes. Yeah, so we're working on the technology to enable that. So essentially cutting up the podcast, which should be this quarter. Once we've set that up, then stitching in the music pre and post should be relatively straightforward. So I'll hand over to Dieter, but broadly we're hoping for the second quarter.
Yeah,
Awesome.
we've already been exploring this, and it's actually there's somewhat of a technical challenge, but it's achievable. So like we can see this happening in, as Dominic says, like this quarter.
Yeah, so it's doable. It's not anything like we cannot do it. Teams say that it is doable. It will take a little time. There is no ETS as of now, but surely you will see this feature coming up in the upcoming days. And once it is done, obviously they're gonna share with us.
Yeah, it's just a coding question at the moment. Is building out the coding and some problem solving en route. So we're hopeful by the end of the quarter we should have something that we're looking at in there. But as the person who asked the question said, it is fluid, but that's where the direction of travel we have.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, thank you, Dominic and Dieter, for giving us time and sharing the updates with the community. Keep updating and keep showing us and keep improving. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Thanks a lot.
See you. Bye.